Okay, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Globally Broadcaster. And in today's broadcast, we are going to introduce the 1064 to nano Raman spectrometers. We'll focus on the advantages and application of the Raman spectrometers to make a brief introduction of the 1064 Raman spectrometers. Okay, good. And next, we are going to focus from the following 5 parts. Part 1 is the traditional existing problems of Raman spectrometers, and part 2 is the advantage of the 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometers. And in part 3, we will focus on outer skies manufacturer, totally 7 models of the 1064 nanometer Raman spectrometers, and in part 4, we will focus on the applications of the 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometers application. And finally, we will make a brief introduction of outer sky to you also. So, okay, first of all, we are going to introduce the Raman spectroscopy principle. You can see this one is the Raman. In year 1928, he discovered the Raman phenomenon, and after 2 years, in 1930, he received a Nobel Prize for this discovery. And we can see from this sketch has vividly explained the Raman spectroscopy principle. And we focus on the list stock lines and anti-stock lines to make analysis of the Raman spectrometers. Firstly, we use the long pass filters to filter the Rayleigh scattering, and we left the stock lines to make analysis. So every Raman spectrometer is composed of 3 components. Firstly is the narrow lightwise laser, and secondary is the spectrometers, and the third one is the Raman probe. And correspondingly, it's like this one. This is the probe, and this is the laser, and this one is the spectrometers. Whatever Raman spectrometers looks right outside, just inside the housing, there are 3 main components to composite of this instrument. Firstly, if you have a laser shoot on here to go through the collimating lens and laser lines, and you can shoot on the focus collimating lens, and then focus on the sample. Samples will generate the scattering light and go straight from here and to reflect it to the mirror, and then go through the long pass filters to go to the spectrometers to make analysis of this Raman signal. Then we are going to introduce the Raman spectrometers application and optoscite competitions. And as we all know that the Raman spectrometers are used quite a lot in pharmaceutical industries for the QA and QC for raw materials and excipient identification, and also for the crystallizing process monitoring, and also very popular in the public safety to identify narcotics, drugs, and also for toxic substances, explosives, flammable materials, and also they are very good for gemstones. It can identify the place of origin and anti-counterfeiting and antique identification. Not to mention the food safety for the pesticides residues and additives and contaminants. And also we have to mention biomedicals for early detection of cancer, and also in the ultrastructure of biomolecular change, and also analyze the calculate and dictation of the bacterial protein diseases. And also they are used widely in environmental science. Dr. Sky is an expert in Raman Spectroscopy, and they are the national standard drafter for Raman spectrometers. And we have the most full range of the Raman spectrometers. We call it covering from 266 to 1064 to 1064 nanometers. All wavelengths can be covered by Opto Sky. We not only provide the standard Raman spectrometers, but also we receive customized manufacturing, and also we are exclusive for the 1064 nanometer Raman spectrometers in China market. As early as 2016, we launched the first high-sensitive handheld Raman spectrometer, which paved the basis for our Raman handheld spectrometers development. And next year, we launched the dual-band Raman spectrometer, which is one of the two manufacturers till now in the world. And this year, we are going to launch a three-band Raman spectrometers. We are make a breakthrough in the world for miniature Raman spectrometers manufacturing. Not to mention our high reliability and also our quantitative algorithm. We are going to introduce the traditional existing problems of the Raman spectrometer. As we can see, this is the alcoholic Raman spectrum. It is a very vivid peak. It has very vivid peak, and the spectrum looks nice. However, here, the main component is alcoholic, but if we use Raman spectrometer to detect, it just can have only this tiny peaks. So where's the other peaks? Hidden. As we all know that beer is a biological sample, so it has a huge fluorescence mark hidden the peaks. So we make this existing problem as the little routers just appears tiny peak. So next we will explain why. Because the Raman signal is interfered by the fluorescence background. Fluorescence background has millions of fluorescence background has millions of times stronger than Raman signals. So traditional Raman signals are easily interfered by fluorescence. So if you use the 785 and the 532 to detect them, they are just be hidden by fluorescence background. You cannot see any peaks at all. So we have these samples have fluorescence, high fluorescence, like narcotic drugs, heroin, fentanyl, and explosives, and some biological samples. Many biological samples like beers and bacterial and drugs, pharmaceutical drug, and fuel and petroleum, and vegetable oils, and textiles, and plastics, and color samples. All these typical materials with influencer background, very high influences background. So all these samples need to use the 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometer because it can resist the fluorescence. We can originate from the principle of the fluorescence because near infrared photon has low energy. So cell has been absorbed by the molecular. And in the ground state, electron is difficult to be excited to generate fluorescence. As a result, 1064 nanometers resist fluorescence background. After resisting fluorescence background, all this peak can be finally be vividly shown, just like rotors can finally flower. We accept 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometers used to interfere with fluorescence background. You also have other ways to remove the fluorescence background. Here we focus introducing other three types of methods. Firstly, we call it baseline correction. Baseline correction is the most commonly used in optoscopes all models of Raman spectrometer because it only uses the algorithm to remove the fluorescence background. So we call this, it has an advantage of zero cost, just like this one. This one is the optoscope baseline correction result. This one has a big fluorescence background, and after correction, after baseline correction, we export this spectrum. So it can greatly, it can show the also very nice Raman spectrum. However, if these areas have peaks, but because it's interfered by the fluorescence background, after baseline corrections, it cannot after deductions, these peaks hidden lost permanently. It cannot show any peaks at all. So this is the peak loss disadvantages of the baseline correction. And also we know that like this spectrum, we know that this has a strong fluorescence background. And this peak is very weak, signal is very weak, and dynamic range is very small. So all this we sum up the baseline correction although has advantages of zero cost, it has disadvantages of a limited application, peak loss, and weak signal intensity and small dynamic range. However, we also know differences operation is also very good to use because in principle, fluorescence background do not shift with different excitation frequency. By using two adjacent wavelengths of 784.5 nanometers plus 785.5 nanometers to exact samples can obtain two groups of signal. By using differences operation, we can obtain Raman spectrum. And this Raman spectrum just has reduced the fluorescence background. And the advantage is obvious. It only uses two lasers because laser cost is relatively mature. It's relatively low in nowadays. So, but there are also some disadvantages like baseline correction. If peaks now cannot be showed, it will lose permanently, and it has the low resolution. And after difference operations, the noise become bigger. And also, there's some shift if left is a short and the right is long. After difference operation, it will become this way. So the wavelengths become ugly and even shifts. And also after deduction, the baseline will become stable and even shake it in their method. Due to the disadvantages of the baseline correction difference operation, we have to introduce 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometers. Question. In principle, it uses the near-infrared photon to cannot absorb, so the samples will not generate fluorescence mechanically. So it resists the fluorescence generation. It can be excellent method to reduce the fluorescence. There are so many advantages of the 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometers. Why not everyone use the 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometers? Because it has a very high cost. It uses the INGA-8 sensors. So INGA-8 sensors is very expensive. It takes thousands of dollars and for the cost, and also it needed to cool down to the 20 degree, and also it also generates a large power consumption. 1064 nanometers Raman also have a low efficiency, so it takes longer time to detect, about 30 to 40 seconds. And not to mention, we also have time gate control methods to remove the fluorescence background. Time gate control, because it has the fluorescence will generated in nanoseconds, like this one, and the Raman signal will generated in microseconds. So there's a time differences here. If we can install a shutter here to remove the fluorescence, and now we can left only the Raman signal. However, because the time is so short, and the cost for this time gate control at least costs over 1 million RMB, so very costly. And also we have a photo breaching to remove the fluorescence background, but it takes at least half an hour. Some people cannot stay such long time. In this page, we have introduced the baseline correction problems. And next, we are going to introduce the Autoskies 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometer series. This is the most popular. ATR 6600. This is the most compact and the most lightweight 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometers. It has one of the three 1064 handheld Raman spectrometers in the world, but they are still not the most advanced model. And also we also have the ATR 8300 1064, and we have ATR 3000 1064, and also ATR 3110 1064 for the lab scientific. And also Autoskies dual band Raman spectrometer ATR 3200 also have the 1064 Raman spectrometers, and also we have an ATR 8000 dual band high throughput Raman spectrometers, can detect 100 pieces of samples after test. And very unbeatable, and this is a very popular models in China. And also we have the newly launched the ATR 8500 Raman microscope. It can employ dual band and three band, and also it has the free space technologies, and the efficiency of this one has greatly improved. It's one of the most high performances Raman microscope till now. And next, we will introduce most specifically of each models of our 1064 Raman spectrometer to make you can have a more detailed understanding of our handheld Raman spectrometers. First one is our most popular handheld Raman spectrometer. This one has because we have the China exclusive 1064 nanometer handheld Raman spectrometer, and this one had already received police certificate for its very good for the narcotics drug analysis and field investigations. And also has been selected as the 20 last year's War Military Games Security Products for export. We have the CE certificate rules and etc. The features is obvious. It uses the 1064 nanometers laser can reduce the fluorescence. It has the most advanced algorithm and dictate mixtures and showing percentages. And also we have the very user-friendly high definition 5.5 centimeter touch screen, and it's super to operate. And we have a 13 megas high definition camera, and it has a barcode scan with the camera. And it also have a multi-mode of the 4G, GSM, and GPRS, and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And we also can self-build library and export format in PDF, CSV, TST, and the battery can run to over 6 hours. And it has lightweight, 1.2 kilograms, the most compact and easy to take. And we have the IP67. All these features make this handheld Raman analyzers one of the most popular instruments in the world. They are not only applied to the parasite for narcotic drug identification, typically heroin and fentanyl, and also in pharmaceutical drug identification, because we also are fully CFR 2111 compliance and IQPQOQ. For the ATR 6600, it can use to field dictate. It can field dictate liquid, solid, and powder. Whatever states you have, it just need one button to dictate. And also our most popular lab scientific Raman microscope use the autofocus, and this is fully auto and fully scanned. And it has the mapping and true confocal. As we all know, this is the only one for the true confocal and the mapping functions in miniature Raman microscope. And also whatever you can see in the market, the manufacturer at OptoSky. And also we have the 5 mega camera, crisp, clear images. And citation include all these, not to mention 1064 and use USB 2.2. And applications is widely applied to the new material, scientific research, bioscience, forensic identifications, and material science, and medical immunology, analysis, and agriculture, and food accreditation, and gemstone essentials. After introducing the 1064 handheld Raman spectrometer, you may ask, have you compared with other competitors in the market? Yes, sure. OptoSky had compared ATR 66 with the BWTech Tactic ID 1064 and the Rigaku progenies. We found some advantage, like we have a higher laser power, and especially this one, measured speed. This one is only take 18 seconds, so it's most fast. And also not to mention our user-friendly big screen. And screen is definition is 1920 multiply 1080. It uses the Android system, and it can export PDF, CSV, and TST. And it has 2 cameras and autofocus and linear and close scan. and library have over 10,000, and this is also the very unique. We have the battery life over 6 hours, and you don't need to worry about the hot instrument, because somebody have a complaint about BW Tech hot instrument. And also we have the most compact size and the most lightweight. And also we have the ATR Raman Spectrometer's poster, because it have the many wavelengths here, and we have the three types. We have the three types with the basic manual focus, autofocus, and autofocus plus mapping. And this is also ATX 85,000 picture. It has 8 megapixels, and even if the samples are even, it can real-time full focus to detect uneven samples, and use the 2D scan can move range from the 50 to 50 nanometers, and also we have 3 objective lengths, 20 and 50 and 100, and we use the T-cord vaccine CCD, so very good spectrometers. And this instrument has no moving parts, so it's highly reliable, and no need frequent calibration. Can save time and improve efficiency. It just takes a year to make a calibration, and it can suit to various environments. Now we would like to introduce the most advanced Raman microscope, human-machine interface. And this is our newly developed software. And you can see this area is the camera windows. It can, and in here you can show images pricing. It uses the 50 to 50 plus 50 microseconds images pricing, and also it displays the spectrum, different spectrum. You just click here and select the spectrum, and it will be vividly displayed in this area. And this is show the mapping of the Raman imaging. And if you click any places here, it will show the intensity change. Like this one, this is concentration is higher, and this one concentration is lower. You can see it in a vivid pictures. And also in this area, if the software is connected, it will show the green color. If it is connected, it will mark in red color. And you can also see the raw material and the spectrum data, and also the dark current data. And also here you can read the different peaks with the different intensities. It's a peak list. And finally, you can get the result in here to show the material name. So in this software, it has very powerful functions, and you can do whatever required for your applications. And this is ATR 83 applied to search, and this is the spectrum, also very nice. And also we have, after introducing the 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometer, we also need to introduce ATR 3000 1064, because it's very convenient. It has the Android system. It has the 11.6-inch touch screen. So you don't need to connect to computer and all. And also it has 2-stage TEC cord with high signal to noise ratio. It can have a 1085, 1064, 532, 633, and 830 nanometers, and weight is only 7 kilograms, and it can bring in your car. So this instrument is very convenient, and is with its compact size and the most complete functions of the Raman spectrometers. And this is a chlorephrine spectrum. Is usually ATR 3000, so the signal is very good. But if you use 785, the signal is very weak. And also we have a desktop ATR 3110 scientific research for the 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometers. And it can fully have a PC software because the Optosky have launched the most advanced PC software. And also the weight is only about 5 kilograms. And also after introduced the 1064, we also make a compare of portable Raman spectrometers with BWTech iRaman X. We have found that Optoskies have the advantage of laser power and also have the ADC is better than that, and also sensitivity is better and dynamic range is good. Integration time can till the 10 minutes. So Optosky, and also we have to introduce that one of the very famous professors in the China Zhejiang University has compared Optosky to 1064 Raman spectrometers with all the markets 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometers and found that Optosky's 1064 performance is the highest in the market till now. So we are very glad to introduce our 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometers to you. And this is some examples of spectrum like acetone nitride and Tylenol. All these spectrums have a very good, nice shape. And the Raman spectrometer has used widely in narcotic drug dictate and liquid safety dictator, and also for food safety for the drug dictator, germstones, and plastic dictators. All these 6 applications has used Raman spectrometers alright. Widely, not even because it's the fingerprint of the material, so it's very accurate. It takes only few seconds, so it takes very fast. And it just need to use weak laser to export to the samples, so it's non-detective. And also it has no consumable parts, so it costs very low. And 1064 Raman spectrometers has applied to narcotics, to drugs, to identify drug, and for identify germstone, and also widely used to food safety, archaeology, and petrol and lab. And also Raman spectrometers has been applied to public safety. Because you know, in the bars, like one explosive, flammables, and hazard liquids is very dangerous for transportation vehicles. So in the entrance can fast dictate TNT and kerosene, petrols, diesels, alcohol, and pesticides. And also flammable and explosives and toxic essentials. We can see that in the entrance of metro, airport, BRT, concert, sports stadiums, and large public places. And also we have a government, court, police, jail, firefighting, and all these have been stored our Raman spectrometers, and also we have war military games, and in Xiamen 2018 BRIC Summit, keep the safety, also use Optosky's Raman spectrometers to identify all these dangerous, hazardous material liquids. And also you can see this picture is the police is arrest narcotics drug dealers. How can they identify these drug dealers as narcotics drug? because it can have our Raman spectrometer to have identified they have this illegal narcotic drug, so can as the evidence to arrest him. And also used very widely in field criminal investigation if they are go to the factory to check some illegal substances. So application not only for narcotic drug arrest, for customs in the entrance and exit, and armed police and border defense, also for the fire brigade and court and jails. You might be curious for court and jails because some defenders might not be satisfied with the court judgments. So he could, if he bring the pesticides or some dangerous substance into the court, he can threatens to kill himself, to suicide, to ask the judges to change the result. However, it's so if we can avoid such dangerous behaviors before the entrance of the court and jail, we can eliminate such illegal accidents. And also for fentanyl detect, because fentanyl has many hundreds of categories. So if you use the other instruments, the time consuming. So if you use Raman spectrometer, it takes few seconds. So it's very fast to identify the fentanyl in the field criminal illegal factory check. So they are also applied widely in narcotic drug arrest, customs, and armed police and border defense. Raman spectrometer hazardous material analyzers application is the police arrest drug era. It's in the this police is in the field to arrest things for the narcotic drug intake. And drug suckers, personal belongings might have this drug. They use our handheld Raman to identify. For public safety, for security drug screening, and also for online to create, dictate, report in time. And also for customs, because custom entry vehicle samplings in field sampling tests, and also drugs and liquid samples test, and also customs entry and passenger field inspection. Not to mention court and jail, we have mentioned before, and also in big event security inspect, and metro high-speed train and liquid inspect, and also in the defense for the explosives check and drug check. Post 1064 nanometer for narcotics arrest here. This is the mahu. It's also it has 5 to 7% of the ice inside. If we use 785, no signal at all. However, if you use 1064, you can see the Raman signal is extinct shapes. You can know this is a mahu. And also, if you 785 heroin cannot be well identified. It has no peak at all. However, if you 1064, its peaks are obvious. And we have already shown this is the used our handheld Raman spectrometer ATR 3000 1064 for the Raman signal is very good. It's very strong. However, if you use 785, the signal is very weak. This is the chloro ephedrine spectrum. And also 1064 Raman spectrometer has used for narcotics detect like heroin and fentanyl. And different fentanyls have very vivid peaks. Different fentanyl has a vivid peak. So you have our 1064. You can identify this peak to know that that this is the different fentanyl. Yeah, you can see this is all their vivid peak, different make it different from other fentanyl. Now to mention all these parts, they are just very good. 1064 very good for heroin and fentanyls. And this spectrum has acquired by our first generations of the 1064 nanometers Raman spectrometers, and nowadays we have upgraded to third generation. So the third generation to have a higher performances, and the signal to noise ratio is 3 times higher. And we also have introduced that Raman spectroscopy have applied to pharmaceutical engineering. So we can see that the pharmaceutical drug production safety has regulated that purchase and production should be 100% authentic. So it must receive 100% inspection. Not to mention FDA, it has also need to 100% factory inspect of raw material and excipients. And the Raman spectroscopy selected as the best and convenient and the fast, accurate detect instruments. And also in European Pharmaceutical has introduced in 2016, Handheld Raman should be introduced to detect the Raman raw material and excipients. And China Pharmaceutical has introduced this year to use the Raman spectroscopies to identify raw material and excipients. So it have more pages to introduce this inspection. Pharmaceutical industry, this China CGMP states in Article 106, all materials should receive 100% inspection. Article in 110, it also ensures every package should be 100% accurate. Not to mention European and US performed much stricter regulations. So we know that the Raman spectrometers have many advantages. Here we introduce 3 technologies to detect raw material and excipients. In pharmaceutical factory, we not only have a Raman spectrometer, also have HPLC. And you can see this is the HPLC. Usually you can see lights of these instruments lying down, and many workers are operating to make an inspection. And also we have the FTIR and also Raman spectrometers. We introduced that Raman spectrometers compared to the HPLC and FTIR. We have a low cost, and it costs less, and it's durable to use. And secondly, it's compact, easy to take to anywhere. To just like your cell phones can take to anywhere, and no sample preparation, so it's non-detective. It's accurately just like a fingerprint of the material. So it has a vivid peak, no influences by water vapor. So we know that HPLC has some disadvantage with the water vapor, and the sample states can dictate solid, liquid, powdered, and organic, and dictate time just take few seconds. And so that's why we introduce Raman spectrometers in the pharmaceutical raw materials and excipients identification. Here, if you can see, this is the acetaminophen. This is the acetaminophen's main component. Tylenol is a headache medicine. If you use, we can find that the 1064 has the most vivid, distinct shape compared to 785 and 532. So we know that the Raman spectrum can know material structure and ingredient and function group. They are Raman spectrum of the material. They are easy to detect and distinguish different pharmaceutical ingredients. And also 1064 Raman spectrometer, also very good for the sugar coating inside the capsule. As you see, Raman spectrometer by using 785, no signal at all. However, if you use the 1064, the Raman signals can be very nice to identify it's the glucose peak. So we also use 1064 for Raman spectrometer for detect all this kind of the drug with a very good distinct shift. And next we are going to introduce some spectrums like silic acid. If you use 785, no signals. Use the 1064, very good signal. And the lysine, 785, no signal, and 1064, very good signal. And the gibberellin, 785, no signal, and the 1064 with a very distinct signal. And mebendazole, use 785, no signal, and 1064, very good signal. And omeprazole, 785, you can see hardly see any peaks. However, use 1064, you can see this is spectrum, very distinct shifts. And salicylic acid, 785, no, and 1064 with. And omethine hydrochloride, 785 is good, but 1064 is better. And cyclopyrax olamine, 785 no, but 1064 with. And also we have this comparison different spectrums by 1064. Next, 1064 Raman systems used to detect pesticides. Pesticides, as we all know that they are used widely in agriculture to prevent disease and regulate the plant growth. They are widely applied to agriculture, forest and farming, and environmental and family health can kill disease and make the preventions. So industrial products like mildews, moss proof, and there are many categories of pesticides like insecticides, acaricides, rodenticides, and nematicides, and molecicides, and fungicides, and herbicides, and plant growth regulator. They are used for food safety, gel and coat, and pesticide counterfeit and public safety, as we have introduced before. And also in experiment, we found that 785 can hardly detect pesticide. So for pesticide, 1064 is very good to use to detect all these spectrums. Very good. We introduced one by one. We used 1064 to detect paraquat. Paraquat, no. 785 no single, no. Only 1064. And etazole, this one. So also pesticide, very used 1064 with a single no. Also, we have the microbutanol, and the 75 no single no. However, you can see 1064 has so many peaks. And glyphosate, isopropylamine is one. Yeah, 75 has some signal no, but it has some peak losses. And glyphosate, and pyriproxyfen, almost no signal, 75, but 1064 has vivid signal. And also, there are many plastics ingredients cannot be identified because they look very similar. And 1064 Raman Spectrometer is very good to identify plastic. This is EVA2. Use Raman 785 could cause some mixtures. If you use the 1064, it can better identify. And also we have the ABS. This 785 signal is very weak. However, if you use the 1064, the signal is much better. And also you can see these two plastics looks very similar, right? Similar looks, but different quality, different prices. How do you identify them? If you use the Raman signal 785, you can hardly identify these two plastics. However, if you use the 1064, you can find that EV2 has more peaks than the ABS. So you can easily distinguish different peaks. And also for some dyes and the pigments, 1064, very good for color samples. It's like there's a common dye stuff, high ingredients, so it cannot be identified by 785. However, it can use the 1064 to detect them, to get a vivid peak. And also, we have to mention fabrics, textile fabrics. You use 785, the peak has lost, hidden, and polyester fibers, peaks is hidden. And also, we use the biological samples used to identify biological sample. This is the embryo metabolin. If you use the 1064, this one, you see peaks more distinct. However, if you use 532 and 785, almost no peak. Finally, after introducing 1064 has so much advantage, we have to introduce Optosky. Optosky located in the scientific research park in the 7th floor. All this floor is Optosky, and it covers 2,500 square meters. And also, this is our Optosky's. We have 20 years focus developing spectrometers. We are the #1 brand of Raman spectrometers in China. And we originated, founded by national science and technologies, major scientific instruments. And we have been exported the instrument worldwide to establish a worldwide sales channel. And the Optosky has been national standard drafter and high-tech company. And also Optosky's logo composed of opto and sky. Spinning O indicate robust, marching, shining, and freedom. And the upper oranges indicate we are passionate and innovation. However, the below blue has been indicated we are stable and reliability. Company logo implies that we are cutting-edge technologies, ensuring first-class quality. And this is our certificate of high technology industry. And we have our headquarters located in Xiamen, and Handheld is our subsidiary companies mainly focused in manufacturing hyperspectral camera. And we also have some branches in Beijing and Xi'an. And not to mention, we have the China National Standard Drafters We are the China National Drafter for Raman Spectrometers. We are the China National Standard Drafter for the hazardous material detector based on the Raman Spectroscopy. And we are also the China National Standards for type monitor for eco environment. And also we have the water quality monitors for the unmanned boat, not to mention online water quality monitor, and also UV absorbent major fabrics. All this is China National Standard Draft verified outer skies from the background. And also company have received many certificates like ISO and CE Rose, LVD, and police certificate. This is our own awards, and we also have an IP standard certificate. We have received innovation 20 patents, 32 patents for new utility design, and 32 software copyright. Okay, thank you.